Welcome to our guests from the city of Lincoln, the Lincoln Public Schools, our Pound staff, students, and parents. And I was thinking about in my early days of teaching, recycling was a word that kind of surfaced at that time. At that time, we collected some aluminum cans, we did some newspapers, some plastic bottles, that sort of thing. But it wasn't a major focus of most households and businesses and schools. Then we got news of the city landfill getting full, needing to expand, needing to move. And then the term composting got to be popular. Started seeing some composting bins at home with kitchen waste, some yard waste, that sort of thing. But it was more for reusing the organic material at home than it was for diverting waste from the landfill. Then along came commercial recycling and composting. And leading the charge for becoming more environmentally conscious and green, as we would say now, has been our mayor. He's not only a champion for the environment, but for the wellness and betterment of the city of Lincoln as a whole. I've known our mayor for a long time. I knew him as a parent when I was teaching at Leffler in my first years of teaching back in, should I say it?
Don't say it.
Don't say it. Okay, I won't say it. A long time ago. And during all that time, I can say that I found him to be one of the very biggest supporters of the Lincoln Public Schools, those who work here and learn here, and he's the best we could hope for in terms of support from a city. It is my privilege and my honor to introduce to you the mayor of the city of Lincoln, Mayor Chris Beitler.
Thank you, my friend. It's been a long time, and I'm glad you didn't say the number of years, but thank you for hosting this event today. It's certainly an honor to be here with the Pound community, and most particularly to be here with you all today. We want to talk a little bit about recycling. Recycling is gaining momentum in Lincoln, and before I start reciting some statistics that are important, I want to just take a second to let you know how important you are to the continuing business of the nation in terms of educating people older than yourself, continuing the drive towards sustainability and building a world that will sustain itself. You're going to have to live in that world, and so it's most important to you to keep up the energy and keep up the power and keep up the meaning and make ever more clear the meaning of sustainability and what's necessary to keep our society from consuming the world. We have to put systems in place. You guys are the guys that have the best handle on the new technologies to put those systems into place, and everything's going to depend upon you. And I'm delighted to be here today to see this wonderful beginning and continuity with respect to what's happening at Pound School and what's happening in the school district generally. In the name of sustainability, and especially as it applies to recycling in our landfill and the composting operations. So I want to start simply by congratulating everyone here for your recycling and composting efforts. Today, as I understand it, we're honoring 50 LPS schools. But we choose to be a Pound and do this for a particular reason, because you all have recycled or composted 75% of your waste. That's huge. If we could get everybody to do that, we would be winning the war. But it is one of the highest recycling and composting rates in all of the LPS system. And I look forward to hearing from some of your fellow students with regard to how you achieve that level. Since LPS started recycling 20 years ago, the schools have kept more than 21.2 million pounds of waste out of the Lincoln landfill, and you've extended its life meaningfully. And I want to give a big shout out to LPS for its cafeteria composting program. You're way ahead of most other systems in our city in that regard. It's now in place, as I understand it, in 49 schools. Since the program began in 2014, more than 2.7 million pounds of organic material, like leftover food, has been composted. Keeping organic waste out of the landfill reduces greenhouse gases. I think you all know that, and composting returns valuable nutrients to the soil for crops to thrive on. Because of the school's great efforts, I'm pleased today to welcome 50 Lincoln Public Schools into the Recycle Lincoln Leadership Recognition Program. The city's recycling office started the program to encourage and reward local organizations for their recycling and composting efforts. It's exciting to see these schools join the 14 other organizations that have already been recognized in the program. The efforts of our schools have helped the entire community by increasing demand for composting services, and we hope that these services will soon be available to all foods facilities throughout Lincoln. So I encourage everyone to follow the great example set by the students and the faculty and the staff of our public schools, all of whom together are making a real difference in the city's waste diversion efforts. Pound Middle School has achieved the gold level designation of recycling or composting, reaching the level of the category of 50 to 89% of their waste. Just 3 other schools have achieved that gold designation, Wysong and Irving and SCO. 31 schools earned the silver level designation by diverting 40 to 59% of their waste, and 15 more schools achieved the bronze designation by diverting 20 to 39% of their waste. The ultimate goal is zero waste. And to achieve that, organizations must divert at least 90% of their waste from the landfill. Pound has a great start, obviously, and I'm confident that you all are going to achieve that level if you just keep working at it a little bit harder. Before I go, I want to tell you a little bit about what's going on with recycling citywide. We have something called the LEAP program. It stands for the Lincoln Environmental Action Plan. It's been in place for a while now. It's our plan to guide the city. It's updated all the time, but the end goal, of course, is a cleaner and greener future. One of our action items is to reduce the amount of waste each person throws away into the landfill, every citizen, counting every citizen in the city, by 22% by the year 2040. One of the ways we are trying to reach that goal is cardboard recycling. We are no longer accepting cardboard in our landfill, as I expect most of you know. It's going very well so far, and I hope that you and your families, and I hope you will encourage your family to continue to recycle that cardboard, and altogether then we'll make one big, powerful impact. Congratulations again to everyone at Pound for your achievement. Thank you for caring about the environment, and keep up the great work. And we will end by making a little presentation to the superintendent, who I'm sure is incredibly proud of you, and the 49 other LPS schools who are now officially part of the Recycle Lincoln Leadership Recognition Program. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor Beidler and members of city staff. And I have to tell you that we're very, very proud to receive this award and very, very proud of our relationship and partnership with you. And your leadership in this has made a huge difference in the lives of our children, our families, and our community. We live in a very progressive community of Lincoln. We lead the nation in so many things, but this is a really cool thing to be leading the nation in. So thank you, Mayor, for your tremendous leadership. I was also thinking, as Dr. Deibler was talking about, growing up and recycling became a word, and I think we grew up about the same time. I don't remember recycling being a word of any substance back in the 50s and 60s when I was a kid. And I have to tell you that if there's one thing that saddens me as our generation begins to turn the reins over to the next generation, that we haven't done a very good job of overall taking care of our planet. But as the mayor said, this generation is reversing that. And that is very, very heartening to me, because as I think about my work and what I've been able to do with my life and my career, I can tell you that sustainability of our environment and our country and our planet is something that I do worry about for my grandkids and for you. But I have great confidence whenever I read a study or hear a report or participate in a conversation about how dire things are becoming around the world. I'm heartened by the work that we're doing in Lincoln and hopefully around the country as well too. So thank you to all of our young people, to our staff, and certainly our partnerships with the city. And to you students who are role models for your families and for this community, this is what's being demonstrated today. The environmental impact that our students, staff, and buildings have is a priority for us with Lincoln Public Schools, and it has been for quite a while. We've been diverting waste from our landfills with a district-wide recycling program for 20 years now, and we are composting in most of our school cafeterias. Building renovations and upgrades to address energy efficiency are part of common conversation as we be thinking about new schools and remodeling and retrofitting existing schools. And we've added geothermal heat pump systems, very environmentally efficient throughout the entire city and close to 60 of our buildings. We have educational programs in place to help students understand the importance of doing these things. We're receiving attention not only at the local level, but you need to know at the state and at the national level. We are national leaders. And it's important, as the mayor said, that we continue to be leaders in sustainability. This is not something that we can say we achieved it. This award isn't an ending point. This is a beginning point, because this is going to be life work for every young person in this room. So thank you to our sustainability team under the direction of Scott Wieskamp and Brittany Albin for leading these efforts and putting us in a position to be able to celebrate this monumental accomplishment. And what I'd like to do now is introduce to you Brittany Albin, LPS Sustainability Coordinator, who can speak more about our efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Joel. Hopefully you can see me up here. I'm thrilled to see so many of our schools being recognized today for their recycling and composting efforts that have been going on for many years now. As sustainability coordinator for the district, I'm really helping our schools to reach two goals. One is implementing recyclable or environmentally responsible practices in our facilities for LPS, but also providing sustainable education opportunities for our future environmental stewards. And we have many efforts in the district that are able to do both, and composting and recycling programs are a great example of that. So with our recycling program, for those of you who may not be familiar, we collect a variety of materials. We do collect cardboard already, paper, newspaper magazines, plastic and aluminum cans. We have tin cans collected. And to date, as was mentioned, we have kept over 21 million pounds of material out of the landfill. And each year, as a district-wide program, we keep 1.4 million pounds of material out of the landfill annually. Our cafeteria composting program started in just 3 schools in 2014, and now we are in 49 schools across the district, and we're continuing to grow that program to be district-wide by next fall. This program keeps food scraps and other organic materials out of the landfill and instead sends them to local composting facilities to be turned into that soil amendment and return those nutrients to our soils. And through that program, as was mentioned, we've kept 2.7 million pounds of material out of the landfill to be composted instead. And of all the schools that are currently composting, we collect on a daily basis 3 tons of organic material to be composted. So as we know, that's a lot of numbers, it's a big impact, but this program is not just about the numbers, it's about the people that are participating. We get great support from our custodial teams across the district, our nutrition services department and our kitchen staff in our schools, our facilities folks, our staff in the schools, and of course the students. The students are really the leaders of this program because they are the ones that sort this material every single day. They're the ones helping their friends or even sometimes the staff and adults in the buildings figure out how this stuff works. And we've seen engagement in these programs happen in a variety of ways across the district, whether it's a recycling manager in an elementary school classroom or a student council helping their peers figure out composting when it gets first implemented in the cafeteria, or a high school life skills group of students that have taken on the responsibility of collecting and recycling, or sorting the recycling items. So students have really been the leaders of this program. And we've also been able to incorporate it into our curriculum, the science standards in kindergarten, when students first learn to reduce, reuse, recycle, and now compost. We've even had schools go on to implement whole school composting, which Pound is one of those buildings. And they've begun collecting things like paper towels from the restrooms and classrooms that can also be composted. While this is a program that we're trying to have as a standard across the district, there are certainly schools that have gone above and beyond to implement this and engage further, and Pound Middle School is a great example of one of those schools. In LPS, we ask each of our schools to designate a sustainability champion to help support and foster these efforts at the building level. And Anissa Brown, one of our teachers here at Pound Middle School, has been a phenomenal example of a sustainability champion here for the last few years. And I'm really excited for her to come up today and share with us more about how her students have not only, gotten on board with their interest in this, but taken their interest in recycling and environmental issues a step further. So next, I will welcome up to the stage Anissa Brown, our teacher here at Pound Middle School.
Okay. Well, I have to give a lot of credit to our Pound students and, of course, our staff, and especially want to acknowledge our custodial staff and our kitchen staff, because without them doing all of that work in the kitchen and in the cafeteria, this could not happen. But we've all been actively involved in helping the environment, now in our 4th year here at Pound, diverting waste from the landfill through our composting and recycling programs. In the spring of 2015, a group of 7th grade students were involved in researching an environmental topic, and they chose composting. They wrote a letter to Dr. Deibler to ask if Pound could be added to the list of LPS schools' composting lunches. He organized a meeting with Brittany Albin, who was looking to add a middle school. Pound joined the list of new schools to compost lunches beginning in the fall of 2015. These students then created our very first video informing their peers about our new composting program and shared it the first day of classes that fall. When school started in 2016, we added composting and recycling stations in each classroom. During the 2017 and 2018 years, Pound joined a nationwide school recycling challenge sponsored by Trex, a Virginia-based company. They recycle plastic film, creating composite decking and furniture. Well, Pound collected 2,131 pounds of plastic film last year over a 6-month period. For our efforts, we won a bench made by Trex. And also in the spring of 2018, we began recycling old markers with Color Cycle, which is sponsored by the Crayola Company. Here at Pound, we all do our part, and we continue to plan and implement ways to help the environment. The impact of these programs, though, can be better understood by students who have participated in these past efforts and with projects moving forward. I'd like to introduce 5 of our Pound students who will share their thoughts as to why helping the environment is so important. Our student speakers today include Mackenzie Hovland and Carlos Monson. Unfortunately, he is ill today, and so Mackenzie will read his speech. They are both 8th graders, so they've been involved in recycling the last 3 years here at Pound. And I'm going to introduce Julia Johnson, Kira Zulke, and Dylan Keister, all 7th graders, who have something very important to share with you today. Thank you.
Plastic bags, we use them almost daily. From shopping to lunches, they're everywhere. However, plastic bags are one of the world's biggest causes of plastic pollution. They don't naturally break down, and if they do, it takes thousands of years. Last year at Pound Middle School, we collected over 2,000 plastic bags from our students and staff. As a result, we won a bench made from bags by Trex, a company recycling plastic film into composite decking. This year, we hope to reduce our use of plastic bags. During the 8th grade lunch period, I and the other team members of Pound's Green Team took a survey about plastic baggies and reusable containers. Surprisingly, almost everybody used at least one plastic baggie in their lunch. On the contrary, only a few people used reusable containers. However, some people used both. Our goal as a Green Team beginning 2nd semester is to have students reduce their use of plastic bags at lunch and switch them out for reusable containers. We want to make Pound a place that uses less plastic. It's time we stop using plastic baggies and start using more reusable containers. This is Carlos's speech. Composting has many benefits, including minimizing or reducing greenhouse gases. Composting also makes and saves money by improving soil and by keeping unwanted pests away, therefore saving farmers millions. Composting works because of a process called decomposition. Decomposition is a process in which bacteria and other living organisms, like worms, break down discarded edible waste, and which in turn will make fertile, rich soil. If we did not have the composting, our earth would be buried in food waste, and there would be nothing we could do to stop it. Here at Pound, we have put in place many systems to help reuse and compost different items. Pound has a system in the lunchroom to help students sort their tray and learn how to compost. Pound also teaches its students about composting in the classroom. For example, all the 7th grade classes kept worms alive by feeding and watering them, making our own smaller compost bins. As you know, worms are a key part of composting. So after we were done, we had a lot of fertile soil to grow plants. Also, we kept paper out of the landfill. Last year, Pound participated in an event in which the school that collected the most plastic bags won a bench, and we were the school that won the bench. It was not very hard to win because of students' participation, but it was amazing seeing an 11 by 6 foot space filled to the roof with plastic bags. By doing that, we saved a lot of plastic from going into the landfill. I think it is pretty cool that the school I attend is being recognized as a leader in composting and recycling.
This year, all of Pound's 7th graders are involved in National Geographic's Geo Challenge, an annual themed and standards-based competition that challenges student groups in grades 5 through 8 across the United States to develop a creative solution to a real-world problem. This year's real-world problem is tackling plastic pollution in our waterways from source to sea. The Geo Challenge has really opened my eyes to certain things. It has shown me that one person can make a difference. My group's focus has been the Colorado River, which stretches from Colorado through the Grand Canyon and then all the way to the Gulf of California. One day I was researching the Colorado River and how it goes through the Grand Canyon, and I found that 5 million people visit the canyon every year. If all those people brought a plastic product and only half of them recycled or threw it away, that would mean that a large amount of plastic would be getting in the river or going other places and harming the environment. If we continue to recycle and compost, we can make a bigger difference than you think.
The Geo Challenge has affected me on recycling plastic by showing me that it is important that we recycle. We need to not throw trash or plastic on the ground because it could eventually end up in a waterway. Certain areas are more affected than others, and plastic affects humans too. We need to stop throwing trash and plastic on the ground because it is going to slowly kill all the fish and other animals that we eat. It is also affecting the beauty of nature. If we don't stop this plastic issue soon, it is going to ruin the beauty of nature and get rid of more and more of our food supply. Plastic littering and use needs to be stopped.
Participating in the Geo Challenge has inspired me to be more conservation-minded at home, school, and other activities in daily life. I gather clean plastic in my home and recycle it. I reuse bottles and bags to reduce my personal waste. I also do my part in helping the environment by participating in many conservation projects to improve our parks and local zoo, like trash and debris cleanups and building and repairing facilities in parks. At school, there are many programs to help students like me and Pound learn about the effects of non-conservational actions of humans. Littering in the ocean is one of the biggest examples of non-conservational actions. If we do not clean up or fix these actions, animals will die, water will go bad, and the shorelines will be covered in plastic. Pound students help conservation through composting our food waste and recycling our plastic. On February 19th, 7th graders will share their Geo Challenge projects during Pound's Wellness Pursuit, which focuses on the wellness for the earth and ourselves. Please join us that evening from 5:30 to 7. Families are welcome to attend.
Nicely done, guys. Thank you very much. I want to thank all of you for coming today. You've been a great audience. Thank you to the kids for their speeches today, to Mrs. Brown for her guidance and leadership, to Brittany for all of her work on a grand scale across this district. We're really glad that you're associated with us at Pound. You're making a huge difference in LPS, and I'm really happy that you came on board here with us at Pound. Dr. Joel, thank you for coming out and accepting the award on behalf of the Lincoln Public Schools. It is a great team effort, and you get to see that across the board as great things continue to happen. Mayor Beitler, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come out and be with us today. It's been our honor to have you here, and we wish you all the best in the last months of your term, and thank you for all your service to this great city and to this school district. You are a champion. Thank you, sir. Again, thank you all. And you 7th graders, I'll see you at the compost bin.